had failed weight loss surgery. Let's chat about it. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Jenny, and as you can tell, I'm going to be chatting about my failed weight loss surgery. So grab a drink and buckle up because this is going to be a bumpy ride. So I had weight loss surgery March 3rd, 2025, but to kind of set the scene, gonna go back in time a little bit and just kind of tell you about my past. So growing up, I have pretty much always been overweight as long as I can remember. My mom has baby books of me and my siblings, all individual ones, and has pictures of us on our birthdays. And growing up, I would look at it and see, first birthday, second birthday, third birthday looked average, normal, whatever you want to call it. And then my fourth birthday, I was bigger. I had gained a decent bit of weight in that year. And ever since then, every picture onward and then into my teen and adulthood, I have always been overweight. I have tried diet and exercise and been somewhat successful throughout the years, but it was never in the most healthy way. When I was in high school, I basically forced myself to have anorexia and bulimia. I basically just didn't eat and worked out a ton. I lost like 70 pounds and I looked good, but I wasn't eating. And when I did eat, I would, be bulimic and try to make myself be sick after. And I would go days without eating a proper meal. And when I would have severe nausea and stomach pains, I would eat, a few crackers to help, and was constantly just like sucking on mints because it helped with the nausea and stomach pain and discomfort. So it was very unhealthy. I did lose the weight, but obviously it came back on, and then I kind of stayed around the same weight or so for quite a while. And then 2019 March 31st, my father passed away unexpectedly, which is a whole different video. But I gained a lot of weight after that, and at my highest weight I was about 310 pounds. Then when the vid happened, 2020, everyone was on lockdown. I was working in healthcare at the time, but they did cut back how many people were working, so I went on furlough and took that time to just focus on my health, go out for daily walks, work out after. I was walking like 3-4 miles around town, and then I'd come back and work out, and I kind of tried to eat better a bit, and I did lose a decent bit of weight. I don't remember exactly how much, but I think I lost about like 50 pounds or so, and then that didn't really all stay off, kind of went back up and floated around like 280 or so for quite a while. Then the end of May of 2021, I moved to Colorado for work, but then also because someone special to me lived out there, Sean, and to try to pursue the relationship, I decided I'm gonna be a little crazy. I'm gonna move out there for a job, but also to try to get this relationship to work in real life, and it did. Again, another story. Anywho, we lived in Denver area. He lived like downtown. I lived kind of out in a burb, and then crazy stuff happened. We ended up living together, so we were both downtown, and there's a lot of bars and restaurants, so we were going out, eating and drinking, and that definitely didn't help. But we were happy and we were both working, and then we ended up moving from Denver to Colorado Springs area. After a while, I decided I wanted to take things a bit serious with my health again, try to diet and exercise and lose weight again. And that was January of 2024. It was kind of like mid to late January, but I wanted to get healthy, lose weight, and just be a better version of myself. At that time, I was around like 295, I believe. And a few months later, I decided to reach out to a weight loss specialist just to see, should I do surgery? Should I do medication? Like, what is best for me, my family history, my body, and everything like that. So I did the consultation and it went well. I was definitely leaning more towards surgery. I had been following a few different people on Instagram and TikTok and just following their journeys and, trying to figure out, do I want to do the sleeve or do I want to do bypass or whatever? And those were questions I kind of asked the doctor. He said I'd be a great candidate for either, so it's kind of up to me, and kind of got the ball rolling. So after that, I did 6 months of nutrition classes. So basically you have to meet with a dietitian and learn better habits, and you have to kind of prove what you're doing, talk to them, what you're struggling with, and it's just 6 months worth of courses. Like once a month you have to meet with them basically and just chat about your eating habits, and they kind of coach you along the way and give you ideas on what to try or what to swap things for, things like that. And then I kind of kept putting surgery off. I wasn't wasn't sure, and I was working at the time and didn't really know how to approach taking time off for surgery, and I just was kind of iffy on it and going back and forth. Do I really want to do surgery? Do I just want to keep trying on my own? What do I really want to do? And it's a big commitment. They're cutting out 80% of your stomach. I decided to go with the gastric sleeve, so my doctor's comparison was taking your stomach from the size of a football to a banana, which is a huge difference. Otherwise, bypass, I don't really understand it fully. They kind of take like the top part of like where your esophagus and stomach meet in a tiny little pouch and then connect it to your intestines the lower down. But that kind of freaked me out. Like, you're rearranging your organs and it just didn't seem natural versus just cutting out your stomach. That's not so bad. I don't know. So surgery went well. Day of, I apparently ended up having a hernia that he also repaired while he was in there. Recovery went pretty well. Obviously was tired and sore, and was hard to be on a liquid diet and soft foods and not really be able to eat anything for quite a while. But it all went pretty well up until, I feel like it was about like 2 to 3 weeks after surgery. I was starting to just have issues with being really nauseous and just not really able to eat much or keep anything down. Like, I did get sick a few times, but it was nothing too bad up until about like a month after. That was when it was really bad. Was getting really dehydrated, couldn't really eat or drink anything. I was so nauseous and it was bad. So I ended up calling the doctor on call, who ironically ended up being my surgeon. I think it was like late Saturday night. It was April 5th. I don't remember what day that was. But I called, talked to him, and was just telling him, like, I have been super nauseous. My stomach really hurts, thrown up a few times, just not really able to eat or drink anything. And I had actually gone to the ER in the Springs where we lived, and, you know, they gave me some fluids, but just wasn't really doing well and didn't seem like it was really helping a whole ton. So he's like, hey, yeah, you should definitely actually come to the hospital up here where you had surgery, because we lived in the Springs and I had surgery up by Denver. So I'm like, I don't really want to have to do that, and it's late. And he's like, you know, like, if you're okay and you don't get sick again, like, you can probably just come tomorrow instead, but if, you know, it gets worse, you're definitely gonna have to come in tonight. And this was like in the evening. Ironically, it was probably like not even 15 minutes after I got off the phone with him, I full on got sick again. So I was talking with Sean and we're like, yeah, I should probably go. And it was a long drive and didn't feel like both of us going. It was fine, whatever. They said that I might have to stay the night to just get a bunch of fluids and everything. So I packed a bag just in case, and I drove up to Denver to the hospital where I had my surgery and went to the ER. So I got there pretty late. It was like 10 or 11 or something. Got checked in and was just waiting around. The doctor ran some tests, of course, and he came back in and said that we got your results back. Everything came back, you know, pretty much normal, but your pregnancy test came back positive. Excuse me, what? I'm like, huh? I'm like, are you sure you have the right person, the right room? You might want to go double check, because no, I'm sorry, no. I don't remember the difference, but there's qualitative and quantitative tests. So there's 2 different tests finding out if you're pregnant or not. And this was a blood test, by the way. So he said he'd run it again, but he was pretty sure it was accurate. So you can guess how shocked I was. And before you even ask, yes, morning of surgery, they did do a urine test to see if I was pregnant, because obviously they don't want to operate on a pregnant person. But either I didn't have enough urine, or it was too early, or they just didn't read it right. I don't know what happened, but it was negative day of surgery. So doctor goes out, reruns some tests, and then a little while later he comes back, kind of cracks the door, and I can see an ultrasound machine behind him, and he brings in a nurse. So comes back and says, yeah, it's definitely positive, you're definitely pregnant. And of course brings a nurse in just because it was a male provider, so they always have an extra female come in. And he pulls out the ultrasound and actually did an abdominal one, which was surprising, and was able to see it. And I was just in shock. I didn't really want to look at it. And then the nurse was standing next to me just talking about how she has a kid or something, and it's the best thing ever, this is such an amazing blessing, a miracle, you have a life in you, blah blah blah. And I'm just laying there like, is this real life? Like, am I being punked? Like, what on earth is happening right now? And I felt so bad because Sean wasn't there. I'm like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be nothing. Whoops. But I did see a little bean on the ultrasound and could see the little heartbeat flickering. It was really intense, really overwhelming, and honestly kind of traumatic. Sean wasn't there and he should have been, but we didn't know and didn't think it was gonna be anything but my surgery. You know, we were being safe and careful, but apparently little baby was meant to happen and come into the world. So that was a really big shock, and was texting Sean throughout the time that I was there, and I just kind of texted like, you should have come, and that's all I really said, and just kind of left it vague. And when I left, they obviously have like the little printout papers that they give you, like your discharge papers, and on the like diagnoses it said pregnancy. So when I got home, I just kind of sat down, didn't really say much, and just handed him the papers and been like, yep. And he's like, are you flippin' serious? Are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I saw it, there's a little thing in there. So yeah, that is why my surgery failed. To go into more detail as to why, my nausea continued really bad throughout the entire pregnancy, which I can make a whole video on my whole pregnancy journey and kind of traumatic birth also. But I really struggled with eating during my pregnancy, which you think would have helped and I would have lost weight. It actually got to the point where they were going to do something called TPN, which is basically like IV nutrition that they put in through a port, but that like freaked me out because something stuck in my body for a long extended period of time gives me anxiety. Just like with a bypass, having my organs rearranged, it's just one of those weird things that freaks me out. It really continued, and it got to a point where they're just like, you just need to eat, don't care what it is, you need to eat. So it kind of gradually just ruined everything that I had just worked so hard on with my nutrition visits, with my diet, because I was so nauseous and dehydrated, I couldn't eat or drink anything. And then it's like, okay, I can eat crackers. Okay, let's put some peanut butter on crackers because that'll be okay. And that's what they told me to do, have some peanut butter on crackers. And I just kind of spiraled of like, okay, well, nothing sounds good, but this kind of sounds good. Or maybe I'll have like a slice of pizza and that went okay, so I'll have like 2 slices. And it just kind of progressed. And with being pregnant made it worse because I had to look out for this baby now that was growing inside of me, and I wanted to make sure it was okay. So I ate anything just to try to make sure that my baby would hopefully survive and be okay. So everything that I had worked so hard for, all the weight that I had lost, came back. During pregnancy, I ironically didn't really gain a whole ton of weight up until very close to the end. And then now after having him, I've gained a little bit more, which is really annoying. But yeah, surprise, surprise, pregnancy went okay. Had a healthy full-term baby, born like a day or 2 before his due date, depending on which one you go off of. But that is why I had failed weight loss surgery, because whoopsies, I was pregnant. And also to kind of rewind a little bit, when I went into the ER and was told I was pregnant based off of the ultrasound, the provider said that I was probably about 7 or 8 weeks, and this was a month after surgery. My surgery was March 3rd and this was April 5th, so literally a month later basically. So I was about like 3 weeks pregnant day of surgery. So that is my little story of why I had a failed weight loss surgery, but my story is not over. I do plan on continuing to work on my weight and fitness and get back into my nutrition better, because like I said, during pregnancy, I was back to my old habits, eating crummy, fatty, sugary, carb-filled stuff because I was just trying to survive and not have to do TPN, weird nutrition IV stuff, and I survived and had a healthy baby. Now it's time to get healthy so that I can live a good life for my baby. So if you have any questions, please drop them down in the comments below and I will definitely get back to you, or can even make a separate video. Don't forget to like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe to join the family. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video.